Hello, I am Rohan sir from Mahdi English Medium School. I welcome my all dear third standard little gems in today's science lecture. My dear little gems, I hope that in the previous lecture where I was just continuing with the chapter number 6, you have watched it carefully, you have understood the concept of how the living things move, how they grow, and etc. So in all 3 to 4 topics were covered from chapter number 6 of in the previous lecture. Now my dear students, in the previous lecture there was nothing to be written and there was nothing writing work. So I hope that though I haven't got any feedback, my follow-up teachers are getting your work and you are watching the lectures and understanding it very carefully. Also, at the end of every lecture, I insist you to call me if you don't understand anything, as my number is there in your WhatsApp groups. Also, I insist you to send your work to the teachers so that we can be in touch with you that whether you are doing the work or not. So, yes, many students are sending me the work, and that day is not far when I am going to introduce new names for the regular students, regular thought sending students, regular work sending students, and etc. Now, let's continue with our chapter number 6, which I am going to finish it today, and we are also going to solve few exercise objectives, and you have to write certain important points from today's lecture, as we are also going to discuss the keywords today. So before I start and before I present my book, I hope that those who are having textbook, they have the textbook now in their hand, and even your rough book should be there, as I ask you to write it daily in your books. So please be ready with your rough notebooks and science textbooks chapter number 6. My dear students, this is your textbook I have presented. Daily I present my textbook so that those who have not got the textbook yet, they will be able to study from this textbook on the screen. So we have come chapter number 6, 4 pages. We have lastly we saw that how living things feel changes around them. So I would like to explain this paragraph again so that we can continue with the next, which is the last page of this chapter. I hope you all are sitting with your textbooks, with your rough books and pencil in your hand. Now, in the previous lecture, the last topic was this: living things feel changes. In this we saw that how different living things have the different aspects even to feel the change. So I'll just quickly give the brief idea of this topic. We can feel changes around us such as hot and cold weather. In the same way, animals and plants can also feel changes around them. Animals. Most animals feel or sense changes around them with the help of their sense organs, that is, eyes, ears, nose, tongue and skin. So this is what I said in the previous lecture. I explained you in detail that most of the animals have same sense organs as the human beings have. Human beings have eyes, they have ears, they have nose, they have tongue and skin. These are the 5 sensory organs even the human beings have. Similarly, most of the animals have the same sensory organs, but animals such as cockroach, grasshopper and butterfly have special body parts called antennae that help them to feel the changes around them. Now, to brief out this, I even showed you this picture of grasshopper in which antenna is labeled for you to understand it properly. If you have seen cockroaches, you might have even seen these kind of antennas on the top, on the head of the cockroaches. And yes, I am very sure that all of you have seen cockroaches at least once in your life. So they have these antennas just to feel the changes around them. Moreover, to throw the light on this topic, I even told you that if you have seen the snake, they hiss again and again. Hiss means they make the sound while they take out their tongue. So this happens like 2 times in a second, or once in 2 seconds they take out the tongue. This is what snakes do. But they take out their tongue, so with the help of tongue they just smell, and they can sense the weather and all the danger around them. So like cockroaches and grasshoppers have their antenna, snakes have their tongue. So this is what we discussed in the previous lecture. Then we discussed about the plants. Plants also feel changes around them. For example, mimosa, touch me not plant, feels a touch. Okay, let me open the page of textbook for you. Now this is the page where mimosa plant is shown. I will highlight it for you. Okay, so this is mimosa plant, touch me not plant. Now you can see, I'll zoom in this picture for you. This is the hand of a person touching the mimosa plant. You can see the two different kind of branches. The leaves are open at its full fledged, but here you can see where the human being is touching, it closes immediately. So when you touch these open leaves of mimosa plant, it closes itself. So this is called their sensory organs. Obviously they can sense the touch of human being and they get closed. So this is what is explained here by giving the example of mimosa plant. When you touch it, it closes itself for few seconds. A lotus flower opens out at the sunrise and closes at night. So if you have seen lotus flower, so it grows in a very dirty place, in very muddy place, but still it is very beautiful. It is our national flower, lotus flower. So it has the speciality that it grows with the sunrise, and when the sun sets, it closes in the night. Plants can also feel the light and grow towards it. Like I also gave you the example of sunflower. Children, sunflower, if you have observed, if you haven't observed, I will suggest you to just observe the live sunflower. It turns its head towards the sun. So this is the speciality. These are the changes they can feel, even the plants can feel. And here non-living things do not feel changes. Obviously, if you hit the water bottle, if you throw the water bottle, it will break. Will it cry? Will bottle start bleeding? No, because they are non-living things. Now students, moving on to the next page, which is the last page for the explanation. Living things reproduce. Yes, you might be having the textbook, so you might have also opened this page. Living things reproduce. Sometimes it happens that I try to bring the book in front of you. Sometimes the pages are blurred because of this effect of scanning. Anyways, now I'll read it for you. So those who don't have textbook, they will be able to understand. Those who have the textbook, there is no question or no query for them. Okay. So living things reproduce is this topic. The process by which living things produce more of their own kind is called reproduction. The process by which living things reproduce more of their own kind is called reproduction. Like dog gives the birth to the puppies which grow and becomes a dog. Similarly, elephant gives the birth to the elephant. Lion gives the birth to lion, means a cub which grows and becomes the lion. So human beings gives the birth to the human beings, like a small children becomes elder. So this way they reproduce of their own kind. They give the birth to the kind of baby or cub or whatever of their own kind. So this is called reproduction. It is a two word, re and production. So production is remade by the specific species. Animals reproduce by either laying eggs or giving birth to the young ones. A woman gives birth to baby, whereas a pigeon and a hen lay egg from which chickens come out. Now this is what the type of reproduction is. Some animals give directly birth to the young ones, or some lay their eggs, like examples are given. You see cow, buffaloes, they just give the birth to the young one, they don't lay the eggs, whereas hen, snakes, these all are the creatures, they lay the eggs and then give the birth to the young ones. So different methods are there for the reproduction as well in the animals. Plants. Most plants reproduce with the help of seeds. These seeds grow into the new plants. Some plants also give rise to the new plants with the help of their roots, stems or leaves. For example, carrot, money plant and potato. So students, now as we saw for the animals, here there are the different ways even for the plant reproductions. There are the various ways. See, plants can be reproduced by the seeds, or they can be reproduced by the roots or stems or the leaves of the plants. So examples are also given: carrot, money plant and potato. So you can even sow the seeds and you can grow the plants, or you can even buy the new or a short plant from the nursery, which is the shop of the plants and flowers and different trees. So there are the different ways to grow the plants. Now you can see the picture here, plant is growing gradually. Most plants reproduce with the help of seeds. That means that mostly when you want to grow certain plants, you sow the seeds. You might have even seen the farmers sowing the seeds. They take care of the seeds, they just take care that it should get a proper amount of sunlight, water, air and all the aspects. Even they apply the manure. So all these things are taken care of for the new plant to reproduce. So I hope students you understood the topic of reproduction of animal and plants. I would like to repeat it once to give you the brief idea of this topic. See, reproduction in animal says that animal can give the birth to the young one, or they can even lay the eggs. So these are the two ways for the animal reproduction. Whereas in the plant, in your textbook it is very clearly given that we can just reproduce, the plants can be just reproduced with the help of seeds, or it can be grown by its roots, stems or leaves. So I hope you understand different aspects and different methods how plants and animals reproduce. And here a small line is given which says that non-living things do not reproduce. It is only the living thing. Now it includes plants, human beings, animals, they reproduce. But non-living things do not reproduce. Obviously your book, your compass box, your water bottle, do they reproduce of their own kind any other species? No, they do not reproduce. It is made by the human being. So the concept of reproduction of the living creatures ends here. I hope you understood this topic very precisely. It is very easy, you just have to go through it once. Now my dear students, if you remember, I have given you one lecture in which I asked you to write down the difference between living things and non-living things. So those points which I have given is from your textbook itself, and that is also which I have informed you beforehand. So again today we are going to revise living things and non-living things, the differences, so that you can get the brief idea of this chapter in just one table of differences. Now the good thing is you don't have to write this. You have to just fold your hands, sit at one place and repeat the difference points after me loudly and clearly. Okay, I hope you are ready. So let us start repeating these different points for difference of points between living things and non-living things. First point, living things can move on their own. Non-living things cannot move on their own. I hope students you are repeating after me. We are going to repeat each point 2 times. Please make sure you also repeat after me. Living things can move on their own. Non-living things cannot move on their own. Living things grow with time. Non-living things do not grow with time. Again, living things grow with time. Non-living things do not grow with time. Living things need air to breathe. Non-living things do not breathe. Let us repeat it one more time, students, the same point. Living things need air to breathe. Non-living things do not breathe. Moving on to fourth point, living things need food to grow, whereas non-living things do not need food. Please repeat this same point second time. Living things need food to grow. Non-living things do not need food. Fifth point, please repeat loudly and clearly. Living things feel changes around them. Non-living things do not feel changes around them. One more time, living things feel changes around them. Non-living things do not feel changes around them. Sixth point, please repeat loudly and clearly. Living things reproduce. Non-living things do not reproduce. One more time, living things reproduce. Non-living things do not reproduce. Now students, in the seventh point only examples are given. So I keep this duty, I give you the duty to write few examples of living things and non-living things in your books. I will read these points, these 2 points of living things and non-living things examples. In the meantime, what you have to do? You have to write your own example. Don't write it from the screen, don't write it from your books. Try to think and find the examples on your own, and please write it down, so when you send whatever you have written, at that time I can observe that whether you have put your efforts or not. Okay, I am going to read the 7th point and you are going to write the examples on your own. Human beings, plants and animals are examples of living things, whereas book, pencil and bat are examples of non-living things. So three examples are given on the either sides: human beings, plants and animals, whereas here book, pencil and bat are the example of living things and non-living things respectively. So I hope students you have now understood why I gave you these difference point before explaining you the chapter in detail, so that once the point is fixed in your mind, then you can elaborate it, then you can understand it more briefly. Okay, now you have to write few keywords from the textbook itself, but you have to write it now in the ongoing lecture. What you have to do is you have to write it down, as well as you have to repeat after me. So I will read 2 times, you will write and repeat one time. No worries, if you are not able to complete writing, you can watch the video lecture again from the YouTube, or you can write it again from the textbook, but make sure you give it on the same day to the follow-up teachers. Okay, let's get started. So here are the keywords. I will read it for you. You have to repeat after me as well as write it once in your book. Okay, I hope you are ready with your pencils and with your book. So let's get started with the keywords. There are only 4 keywords, so you don't have to write much. Okay, living things. Number 1. Things that move, grow, breathe, need food, feel changes and reproduce are called living things. I will repeat one more time. Things that move, grow, breathe, need food, feel changes and reproduce are called living things. Now students, it's time for you to repeat after me. Please repeat it. Things that move, grow, breathe, need food, feel changes and reproduce are called living things. Okay, I hope that you are repeating after me. Moving on to number 2 keyword, which is non-living things. I'll read it. In the meantime, please write it down in your books. Things that do not move, grow, breathe, need food, feel changes or reproduce are called non-living things. See, there is only a hairline difference, which again makes the vast difference obviously, but in the writing there is only a hairline difference, that is only minor difference. With the definition of living things, you just have to add do not, and that's it. That will make the definition for the non-living things. Okay, now it's the time for you to repeat after me. I hope you will repeat after me. Things that do not move, grow, breathe, need food, feel changes or reproduce are called non-living things. Moving on to number 3, stomata. Tiny holes in the leaves through which plants breathe are called stomata. Please write it down, students. I hope you are just following the instructions. I'll read it again. Tiny holes in the leaves through which plants breathe are called stomata. I hope you remember that diagram which is there within your textbook, where it shows that how stomata is there in the green leaves. So that picture depicts how the stomata looks. It is a microscopic picture brought into your textbook just to depict you how stomata looks. Okay, it's time for you to repeat after me now. Tiny holes in the leaves through which plants breathe are called stomata. Okay, moving on to number 4, which is the last keyword, reproduction. Please start writing. I'll read it for you. The process by which living things produce more of their own kind is called reproduction. Now, please repeat after me. The process by which living things produce more of their own kind is called reproduction. Okay, now with this is the end of our lecture. So students, at the end of this lecture, I have brought a beautiful thought before you, which is given by our excellent student Bhavnagar Sayyeda of Standard 3rd. What is the thought? A teacher is a person who introduces you to you. This is very beautifully written and very beautiful thought, very deep thought. This thought means a teacher is the person who enhances all your skills and shows you the mirror. So at a times teacher scolds you, and many a times even they appreciates you. So that is for your enhancement and your betterment. This is what this thought means. A teacher is the person who introduces you to you, how much you have grown intellectually and in all the aspects. So this is very beautiful thought given by our excellent student. I really appreciate the efforts made by Bhavnagar Sayyeda to find this thought, to share it with me, and at the same time I also hope that all the students are going to do the same. I even wish that all the students, whether 30, 40, whatever number of students are there, all of you, I request you to send the beautiful thoughts, new thoughts, so that I can present that on the screen with your names. So in the end, I will just say that thanks for watching the lecture. Also, I would request that please send your work, whatever you are writing, to your follow-up teachers, and if you have any queries regarding the explanation, please call me between 5 to 6. You are free to call between this time, in this time limit, so that I can solve your doubts verbally. Again, thanks for watching the lecture. Take care. Goodbye.